I don't know how Ford's gonna ever recover from this one. We're gonna compare the V8 Durango to the Ford Explorer, and the price difference is absolutely shocking. I'll include a link to the Sky Ford and the Sky Dodge's websites in the description down below. They're providing us with both of these vehicles. Let's get right into the comparison. Powering the Explorer is a turbo 3-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed. Fuel economy is 18 around town, 25 on the highway, with power outputs being 400 horsepower and then 415 pound-feet torque. The Dodge has a 5.7-liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed. Fuel economy is 14 around town, 21 on the highway, with power outputs being 360 horsepower and then 390 pound-feet torque. If you're looking for a review on a car, I probably have it. I have over 11,000 videos posted here, so if you want to keep up with everything, make sure you subscribe. The ST package makes the Explorer look a bit more aggressive. I mean, blacked out grille, you've got the little ST badge and blacked out trim around the fog lights. The GT package here on the Durango adds a lot of aggression. I mean, look at the hood vent. You've got tons of openings here on the front end. They call it the performance front fascia. No fog lights though. Something that's interesting to note is the Explorer actually has kind of a wider appearance compared to the Durango, especially with the front end. 275 by 45 by 21 for the tire wheel setup with the Explorer. 265 by 50 by 20 for the tire wheel setup with the Durango, so slightly smaller wheels. Now here's your stud profile with the Explorer. You notice the fender flares and the bodywork at the bottom is unpainted, which does make it look a little bit cheaper, but at least they paint those brake calipers red. Now the Dodge has pretty much everything painted, so even though it's actually less expensive, looks a bit more premium that way. Now with the Explorer, the seats do fold down flat, and you have decent space behind the third row, and we actually have a little bit of storage underneath too. And it is power for the seat fold down function, which is great. Now the Durango seats also fold down flat, but they are manual. Some of you might care about that. I don't. And then you do have a little bit of storage underneath too. So that's good. Interesting they put the button there for closing the hatch versus the Explorer's up top. Now, I don't even want to get in the third row of the Explorer. This is the thing that always surprises me. I get gaslit on this quite often. People say that the third row is not that bad. The seat's super low and the floor is right there, and so your knees are like crunched up, and then you barely have any foot space to start off with. Now, third row aside, the second row seats are really nice. The kind of Alcantara trim there in the center. And then they got good leg room, we've got a little storage pocket, heated seats, our own climate zone. And these captain chairs are nice. You got to pass through for the kids to go to the basically unusable third row. And then you got nice stitching there and pretty good headroom. This one actually does not have a sunroof. Now the Durango third row is much more usable. First off, the seat's actually nicer. They don't cheap out on the seat compared to the other seats. And look at the bottom of the seat and then the floor. So you actually have a little bit of space so your legs aren't crunched up against your chin. And there's real foot space too. So just a better third row. And when it comes to materials, I think the Durango seats, I don't know, feel a little bit more premium in a way. Comfort. Explorer seats might be a little bit more comfortable. A little storage pocket, heated seats in the back, USB ports, vents, an outlet, and then got pretty good headroom, vents throughout the top, climate controls to the rear, and this one actually has a sunroof up front. Blind spot warning with the Explorer, got thicker glass up front, lots of nice soft touch here. All of our window controls, got your power folding mirror function, memory seats. Actually, let's compare payloads. 1160 on the Ford. And then ST there, power adjustable with the seat. The seats are comfortable up front, by the way. Decent. Oh, look at that driver monitor. Gotta love that, right? Full digital cluster. We do have nice trim in the steering wheel. We've got red stitching there, ST logo, paddles on the back. And then this is pretty cool. 360 camera system's got good resolution and everything. And then you do have pretty much everything built on the screen. So like your heated ventilated seat controls, the climate. The screen itself is quick to respond, so that is a plus. And then below you've got physical buttons for like your auto stop start, volume, parking assist. Got a little storage there, it's nice. Some USBs down below. We've got cup holders, dial shifter, drive mode, select. Center console's got good space too. Nice trim on the top with that. And then like I said earlier, no center for this. Blind spot running with the Durango, thicker glass up front just like the Explorer. And you got nice trim throughout. Automatic for the windows there, got memory seats. Payload is 1,200 pounds. Towing capacity on the Explorer is like 5,600. The Durango is like 7,400, so the Durango tows more. And then, again, look at the seats. Now, comfort-wise, Yeah, a little bit firmer, but I don't think they're uncomfortable. I like firm. I have the key fob. Stupid Dodge. You can see partially analog, partially digital cluster. Steering wheel's nice. Got paddles on the back. Adaptive cruise with it. Now the cruise system on this is not going to be as advanced as the Ford. This is going to be like more of a regular adaptive, whereas the Ford's kind of more of a self-driving system almost. Now we do have just a regular backup camera, and so yeah, a little bit lower tech with the Durango. The infotainment system, it's decent, but not as quick to respond. Pretty close though. But you get physical controls for like everything. It's all straightforward. Phone charging pad there. And this is cool. It has an all-wheel drive low mode, which can help out if you have a trailer and you're backing it up like a steep incline or something. Soft touch there as well. And then, like I said, sunroof up front. Now, here's the part that's crazy. The Durango's about $51K. The Explorer's about $60K. So it's about a $10,000 price difference. Let's drive them. So let's set off in the Ford Explorer first. See what I did there? I actually got to make sure I lock the Durango before we actually set off, because I got my other camera gear in there. And we all know the reputation with Dodges. I'm just we all know. I wonder why that is. I wonder why they're so the Dodges are so targeted for people stealing from them. Maybe it's because they're just easier systems. I don't know. But anyways, it's kind of firm. It'd be interesting to see the ride quality difference between them. The engine's responsive. Now the Ford does have more power, but I will be back with this comparison in the very near future, because as soon as there is an RT Durango, that's going to be compared against this, because you can get one of those starting at 51. The ones that I've seen ordered so far have a sticker price of about 55 because they've got a couple options added to them. 55 grand, so still 5 grand less than this thing, and 470 horsepower. Now people keep bringing up fuel prices. And people keep telling me, oh, that's why I bought the turbo, because fuel prices. Okay, well, here's a couple things. First off, if you're buying a $50,000 or $60,000 SUV and you're worried about fuel prices, you probably shouldn't be buying a $50,000 or $60,000 SUV. You should probably be buying something much, much more affordable. You know what I mean? And then the other part is, in the real world, you know, it ends up not being as big of a difference as people make it out to be. The EPA, I don't know, they don't seem to be the best at actually getting real ratings. Because whenever I drive a vehicle with a V8, I get better than what the EPA says it's supposed to get. And then whenever I drive a vehicle with a turbo, whatever, 6-cylinder, 4-cylinder, doesn't matter, turbo, anything, I always get worse. It's got power. It's good. I like Ford's 3.0 V6. It's a powerful engine. It's a fun engine. But, big butt. It's well, still a V6, still a turbo. And I don't mind. I mean, turbo V6 in this segment's already crazy because everyone else has like no horsepower. This actually has real horsepower. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this compares to the V8 and the Durango. So yeah, suspensions. I mean, it's not bad, but it's firm. It's definitely like over the bumps and everything. I'm feeling a lot in this thing. So let's go pop over into the Durango and see if that V8 wins me over. I will say I definitely like the sound of this a bit more. It's very aggressive. And it's, you know, it's the right amount of sound. It's loud enough to where I'm like, yeah, I'm driving a V8. Quiet enough to where I'm not getting annoyed with it. Because you get too loud of an exhaust and you want to get out of the car after a while because you got a headache. Fun in sports cars though, right? But, you know, something you're going to daily drive, I think this is the right amount of noise. I think it's just the right amount of noise. Man, that person's zooming. Jiminy cricket. And a Yaris too. Zooming in the Yaris. I love the V8 response. Like, every single time I drive a turbo car, I'm like, yeah, this isn't that bad. Like, it's pretty quick. Obviously, you know, they got a lot of horsepower in the turbo cars. Then I get back into a V8. This has 40 less horsepower. I don't care. Because it's just instant response. Feels like real power. right off, you know, as soon as you put your foot in the pedal. Yeah, it's like turbo cars, they'll be like peak horsepower, but then peak horsepower doesn't last very long. That's the other thing to note. This just continues to like give you more and more power, whereas a turbo engine, it's like turbo lag, torque shove, peak torque, tapers off, peak power, tapers off. And these NA cars, it's just like more. It seems like you just keep getting more and more power. It's like unlimited power. It's crazy. Oh, sounds good. I don't care if it's not as fast. It sounds great. And it's smooth with the power delivery. Smooth and consistent. I like it. Now, when I did this comparison back in the day, RT versus ST, right? Because it used to be that, well, the RT is the way you had to go to get the V8. You know, it was kind of like, okay, the Durango tows more and you got the V8. But now it's like the Durango still tows more, you still get the V8. And unlike before, the Durango is not just a little bit less expensive, it's way less expensive. I mean, you can get one of these starting in the 40s. This one's got a few options, so it's a bit more expensive. But, I mean, with how the pricing is, and the Explorer is still probably going to outsell the Durango because people just, they follow the crowd. It's just how humans work. But if you want to be a smart human, at least go and check one of these out. I think many of you will be very pleasantly surprised with how this drives. And again, for those of you bringing up the fuel prices, if you can afford to buy a $50,000 to $60,000 brand new SUV, you should be able to afford to buy the gas. If you can't afford to buy the gas, then you can't afford to buy a $50,000 to $60,000 SUV. Like, that just, yeah, I'm just gonna be parked crooked. Anyways, that's all.